Hey guys, so this is my second time filming this video. I filmed it yesterday and I just ended up rambling for like 40 minutes and then my camera died before I could finish, so I decided that I'm gonna break it up into multiple pieces, but this video right here is going to be about the basics of flexible dieting, what it is, and why I'm such a big proponent of it. So basically, flexible dieting is tracking your macronutrient intake in order to achieve a certain physique goal. So the general line of thought when people first go on a diet or set out to lose fat is that they need to restrict, that they need to cut out carbs, they need to cut out fat, they can't eat their favorite foods, they can never have, pizza or ice cream or a cookie or any of that, and that leads to everyone feeling restricted. That's not a sustainable way to lose weight. That's not a lifestyle, and if you can't make your weight loss or your fat loss effort a lifestyle, then it's not going to last. So you might be able to lose the weight initially, but as soon as you hit your goal, you will either, slowly revert to old habits, or worse, fall into like a restrict and binge cycle like a lot of people do. Me personally, I used to be a really strict clean eater, and I would eat super clean for the whole week and not eat anything bad, quote unquote, and then the weekend would come and I'd go out to dinner with my parents or whatever on my planned cheat meal, and I would eat everything until I felt literally like in pain. I was so full, and then I'd go home, and an hour later, as soon as I could eat more food, I would like make dessert or have some cookies or something, and that's just not healthy, and then after that I would feel guilty and I would go right back to restricting and only eating super clean foods. So obviously that is not mentally or physically a healthy way to go about dieting or eating in general. So basically the concept of flexible dieting is that you allow yourself to have those foods, a couple Oreos or some pancakes or a couple slices of pizza on a regular basis, and then you don't feel restricted and you don't feel like you need to binge, and you don't feel like you're a slave to your diet. So the oversimplified version of flexible dieting, or if it fits your macros, IFYM, is that you can eat whatever you want as long as it fits your macros and you will still be able to reach your physique goals. And while that is true, I don't really like that summary of it because it perpetuates a stereotype that flexible dieters or IFYMers just eat junk food all day or don't care about their health, which personally that's not how I view it. I view it as eating, mostly healthy food, using common sense, and then allowing myself, to eat whatever I want once I hit my micronutrient intake, which I will talk about later. So basically, IFYM, or if it fits your macros, macros are protein, carbs, and fat. So each macronutrient has a specific caloric value. So carbs and protein have 4 calories per gram, and fat has 9 calories per gram. So as you guys notice, fat has a lot more calories per gram, meaning a fat gram is more calorically dense than a protein or carb gram, and that I think is why people usually think that foods that are higher in fat which are then more calorically dense, are fattening, but really no food is inherently fattening. It's just that foods that are high in fat are easier to overeat and go into a caloric surplus where your body will gain fat. So I'd like to point out that flexible dieting and tracking your macros is different than just counting calories. Well, each macronutrient does have a calorie content, so yeah, you are hitting a specific number of calories every day. You are allotting those calories amongst each of the 3 macronutrients, which is definitely a more beneficial and effective way to lose weight as far as body composition goes, especially if you're active or you lift, which most of the people that follow flexible dieting or IFYM do lift or are at least active. And namely, the most important thing is that you have an adequate amount of protein. So generally it's recommended that you eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but in the next video I will go into exactly how to calculate your macros and how you adjust them and how you know if they're working for you. But that's just the basis of what they are. So addition to your proteins, your carbs, and your fats, you should also be keeping track of your fiber intake and ensuring that you get your daily amount of vitamins and minerals and all your micronutrients. And all fiber and micronutrients are generally found in, fruits, vegetables, grains, oats, rice, beans, and unless you get your fiber from Metamucil and Quest bars every day, you really do need to eat a good amount of fruits and vegetables and, like quote-unquote clean foods or unprocessed foods in order to hit your fiber and your micronutrient goals for the day. So I would just like to point that out, is that just because you necessarily follow a flexible dieting protocol doesn't mean that you eat like an idiot and you only eat fast food. I would say, yeah, there are people that, abuse the system, but I'd say the majority of flexible dieters are aware of their health and they care about their health, and they do eat a significant amount of nutrient-dense foods, fruits, vegetables, proteins, all that stuff. So I would just like to, set that straight real quick. I definitely have days where I do abuse the system, I'm not gonna lie, but then I just make it a goal the next day to do better. My general rule of thumb is that I like to get in at least 5 servings of fruits and or vegetables each day as a minimum before I start fitting in, donuts, Pop-Tarts, whatever it may be. So I'd say just be responsible, use common sense, and there's no really health risk to flexible dieting. So that's basically the premise of flexible dieting, or if it fits your macros. The next video that I film, which will hopefully be in the next day or two, will be about how to calculate your macros and then how to track them as well. So hopefully this gives you guys a better idea of what exactly it is, and hopefully I was able to explain it to you guys in a way that was easier to understand than maybe what you found online, or maybe it wasn't, because I don't know, I didn't write a script or anything, I just kind of rambled. But yeah, I hope I helped you, and let me know if you did. If you still have questions about, the basics of what flexible dieting is, let me know and I can clear up any confusion in the next video, and I will see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Please like this and subscribe to my channel, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.